It's good to be alive right about now.
Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bass line move you. Say, yeah, it's good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now.
All right.
You know, I don't understand when communities say they can't get any teenagers. Look how many we have. Woo-hoo! All right, yes, let's give them another shout out, and our dancers. Thank you. Wow. So a rabbi and a priest, Bill, they have a very important task ahead of them. They are out on an old country road, and they both made signs, and each of them got on each side, and when the cars passed by, they were going to hold the signs up real big like a banner and make the drivers aware. So the rabbi, he puts on the sign, the end is near. And the priest put on his sign, turn around or else. So the first driver that's driving down the road, well, yells out the window, get a job. And the second driver says, you religious fanatics, give us a break. So in a moment, the rabbi looks to the priest, and they hear a splash, splash, and a crash, crash, 2 times. And they looked at each other and said, maybe we ought to change our sign. Priest says, that would be a good idea. Let's just put on both of them, bridge out ahead. You're an influencer. Everywhere you are, you influence. What does your sign say? What does your sign say to our children? That you're beyond excited about life? What does your sign say to your coworkers? That someone thought enough of you to put you in that position that plays a part, and whether they're successful or not? What does your sign say? You know, some of the staff started asking me towards the end of the year, what's your rhyme mantra going to be in 2020? And I said, I'm not going to have one. That's been happening for a long time. I want to be called to something else, you see. And I did want to do 2020 clear vision, 2020 insight, not hindsight. I'm like, original people, right? Let's be original. And so for me, it was going deep in the wellspring of my own life of including all of us together. And 2020 is the year of the influencer. That's what this year is. For our community, 2020 is the year of the influencer. So I wanted to talk about that this week and next week to just kind of give you a sense of where I'm coming from. One of the things in order to be an influencer is you don't want to say, I'm not comfortable with change. Anybody said that lately? I'm not really about change. I don't like change. Change makes me sound comfortable. So when you come from that place, you want to realize that when you pray every day for expansion and you say, I'm not comfortable with change, you just close that door. Are you with me? When you say, well, I'm looking for this or that, or I'm expecting this, or I'm declaring this, I'm not comfortable with change, you shut it down. I welcome change. Say that with me. I welcome change. I'm inviting it I'm looking for it. Because I participate with my life. For ultimately, I'm responsible. And so it is. Amen. All women. All children. Adopt a pet. That's my life. When I think of an influencer in my life, I think of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I read his material often. I have it close to my heart. His beloved community. His statement that if I diminish you, I diminish myself. It's powerful. You begin to die the minute you stop talking about what matters to you. I mean, you could just be quotes everywhere of the magnificence of the warrior archetype that he used, in which he brought his sacredness, and he influenced people near and far across the globe, and still does. He's still one of the most quoted people that ever lives, and as far as I'm concerned, he lives right now, because I'm still affected and impacted by him as an influencer. But one of the things that he said that I love was, if you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper in the world. Be the best, like Beethoven was in composing, like Michelangelo was with painting, like Shakespeare was with poetry. Be that great at it. So the angels can say, wow, you were the best street sweeper ever. And part of being an influencer is realizing that what you are involved in, bring 150% with no grudging, no martyrdom. We understand you've been dealt with some cards in your life. We understand that, you have these situations because you are the right person for that space. Otherwise, it would have gone on to someone else. And so you want to say, how can I get further in? How can I get further into my career? How can I get further into my relationship? Even if they are things in your life that you're thinking you want to leave. You cannot ever leave until you're fully there. Hello? You cannot ever leave until you're fully there. Because if you're not fully there and you leave, you're going to have the same old less of you that you're toting around with you already. Okay? So you expand that. I love the story of Oprah talking about an influencer. And I love the story that she told that her grandmother, her maternal grandmother, started her reading and writing when she was 2.5. So when it came time for her to go to kindergarten, she wrote to the teacher, I know too much to be in this class. Thank you, Dee Dee. I know too much to be in this class. I know words like elephant. I know big words. And they advanced her to first grade. She didn't go to kindergarten. And then when she was in first grade, they advanced her to third grade. You see, because why? She spoke up. She used her voice. She spoke. She was heard. She was empowered because she was lined up to the vibratory field, and which is her purpose, and has been doing that ever since. I love the fun little story of a pastor. He's new and he's an intern, and so one of the Sunday school teachers was out, and they invited him to teach the class. And so he's with the students, and he says to the kids, he said, I want to know, who was it that knocked down the walls of Jericho? And the kids looked at him. They said, well, none of us did it. Well, he was just appalled that they didn't know anything about the Bible. So we couldn't wait to the board meeting. So we gathered the board together, and he said, I couldn't believe it. He said, I was with the kids, and I was talking to them, and I said to them, who knocked down the walls of Jericho? And they said, well, none of them did it. I just couldn't get over it. And one board member says, well, Tom, I assure you, I've known most of those kids all their lives, and if they say they didn't do it, they didn't do it. So you can take some money out of repair and maintenance, And you can go ahead and get those walls fixed. That's what you can do with that, you see. So we look at our influence and how we make a difference. Some of you have asked me, how was the cruise? It was wonderful. Thank you. It was wonderful. And yet, this is where I love to be. It's my favorite place. As Miracle would say, this is my favorite place right here. I love to go because I love to learn. And I was clear years ago in stepping into being an influencer that if you go to a class with me and I'm taking a class from someone else, I'm on the front row and I'm taking notes. Because I don't believe that one teacher's necessarily greater than the other or any of that. I believe by right of consciousness we agreed to be there. So I want to take those notes because I want to see what is in it for me, you see. And so Vincent Jenna was there on the cruise, and he did a wonderful message. I was very moved by what he had to say. But he referred to Matthew 7:7. Ask, and it shall be given to you, right? Seek, and ye shall. Thank you. No walls here. Okay. Knock, and the doors will be open, right? And he said, you know, it's very interesting because when you pray, when you invoke, when you clearly say to the universe, here I am, higher power, here I am, God, here I am, Yahweh, here I am, bring it on, bring it on. He said, when you don't see it happening right away, you start questioning how you ask, like there's a right way or a wrong way. He said, your ask is already heard, right? It's already heard. That's why you want to move on to that second part that says seek and you will find it. It may not show up how you ask for it. It may look different, right? It may have a whole different new way, but seek it and every now and then be willing to knock. And sometimes I'll go out in the backyard and I go, this is me knocking. And I'm talking louder now. Blah, 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 bring it on, blah, 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 you know? And so it's part of that process. And he said, and what are we doing with children today? We put children through this situation of, no, you can't have any water because you didn't ask for it properly, honey. When you ask for it properly, I'll get it for you. What are we doing? Stay with me. I know some of you are all going, ah. So when we are training children like, oh, well, you didn't say please. Well, you didn't say, is there ways of healthy parenting? You bet, of course. Sure, I'll be glad to get that for you. I bring it to you, and then what do you say now? Thank you? Sure. That's unique. But when we're training them that, oh, there's a great way, and only the right way that you ask it is going to happen to you. Do you get me? And some of us might still be going to therapy about that. Apparently, I didn't ask right, because look what I got. You know what I mean? So clear that within your energy field. You welcome change and know that your ask is already happened. It was delivered to you like a download signal, which is why you said, I heard it and I'm ready for it. Prayer is not a new idea. What you're knowing for your life is not something new. The angels are up there going, ha, ha, ha. They think it's new. We've been telling her that for like 12 years, right? Time to get on with it, while the person sitting there for 12 years is going, I don't like change. Yes? Wow. The power in that. You see, because prayer doesn't change God, it changes you. It changes me. It prepares us for that space to really receive. There's a cute joke about Hillary and Bill. When Bill was president, they didn't get back with me for me to find out if it's true, but it's the cutest little story because they are driving through the countryside during his presidency, and they come up on a gas station, and a man comes over to put gas in their car, and Hillary goes, Charlie, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you. I haven't seen you in so long. Goes up and gives him a big old hug. And they get back in the car, and Bill says, honey, who was that? She said, oh, that's Charlie. We used to date. As a matter of fact, it was before you came into my life, she said, but, we even thought about getting married. He said, well, if you had married him, then you would be the wife of someone that owns a gas station. She said, oh, no. Oh, no. If I had married him, Charlie would have been the president of the United States. Work it, right? Right? The confidence of being an influencer, the competency of being an influencer, of stating it, of having a moment. I had a family keep calling me, their son, oh, and this, and he's still drinking, and he's that. And I go, you know what? He has an allergy. And at this point, it's now your responsibility. Well, but, we don't want to upset him. I went, oh, you don't want to be parents. You want to be best friends. Oh, I see. You don't want him to get mad at you. Who's the adult here? Who's the thinker for the village here? Right? My last resort was, don't call me anymore. Because I don't want to be involved with this. Because you have work to do. You need to send this beautiful spirit away for a few weeks and let there be a detox. And finally, they did. They did. Different person on the planet now. Influencing. Sometimes it's that one moment of what you have to say that can transform not only you, but somebody else. But you're not doing anybody a favor. Just playing nice and status quo. There was a baseball coach named John Scalenis, and he had been a baseball coach for years, and then he went on to be a motivational, inspirational speaker. And so on this one particular event, there were 4,000 baseball coaches from all over the world, and they were at Opryland. When they heard he was speaking, there were comments, God, you get in ready for it, because he is amazing. He's worth the trip right there. And he walks up, gets a standing O, and he has a prop of a home plate around his neck with string. And he goes on about his business, and he does his talk. And finally, people are starting to talk among themselves, what is the thing with the home plate? Is he ever going to say anything about it? And he said, I see, you're drawing attention to this home plate. Does anybody know in Little League how wide home plate was? And one of the baseball coaches shouted from the back, 17 inches wide. Well, how about when Babe Ruth was playing? It was 17 inches wide. How about in the minor leagues now, how wide is home plate? Thank you. We want people online to know people are here. Thank you. Right? How about the Major League Baseball player fans out there? How wide is that home plate? 17 inches wide. It's never been changed. People, players, align their ability to the home plate being 17 inches wide. If a pitcher doesn't hit it over a course of time of their own development, they bring someone else in. They didn't say, oh, little Scotty, we want you to be comfortable. Let's make home plate 25 inches. Or maybe we could make it for you like 35. And we could just keep lowering our standards all the time. Maybe we don't even need a home plate. That way, wherever it goes, it's fine. Absolutely not. What is your 17 inches? What is your home plate? What is it that you call home, the standard that you model to your family, to your coworkers, to your children? How are you an influencer? I was surrounded by people when I was 55 saying, oh my God, I dread that age, and oh my God. And then, the next thing is the 60, and then the next thing. And I said, my vision is when I am 60, people are going to ask me, what do you eat? What do you drink? What are you doing? Because I want energy like you. You see? I didn't say, could you please change that 17 inches specifically for me, right? And so you think about that for your life, of how we make adjustments. Look at that. Hold yourself to the highest standards possible, to the highest standards of how you can live your dream, and model it for everyone else in the ways that you can. Very powerful. So Peppermint Patty was upset with Charlie Brown because she told him, Charlie Brown, the first day of school, I got sent to the principal's office, and it's your fault. And Charlie said, well, how could that even be possible? I wasn't even there. And she said, it's your fault because you're my friend, and you should have been a better influence for me in my life. Yes, she called him Chuck. So in the consciousness, be an influencer and be a great one. Thank you for being here today.